kids will do the most bizarre things, right? So my daughter stuck a raisin up her nose, right? And we took her to the ER, and she thought it was a great fun until they were like exploring to get the raisin out. And then she did it again. Like she literally did it again. And I'm like, we're not taking to the ER. I'm going to research how to do it. And I figured out that if they held one nostril, I think my husband had to blow a little bit into one.
Oh my God.
Out.
Hi, and welcome to the Mom Comes, a stand-up and stories podcast. Whether you're experiencing maternity, matrescence, mommyhood, menopause, or even if you've become the matriarch, the Mom Comes, we've got you covered. Laugh until you cry with the Mom Comes. I'm Holly Rizzuto-Palker, the producer of the Mom Comes. I'm Italian Catholic, and I'm married to a Jewish guy, so move over Sebastian Maniscalco because I'm raising 3 pizza bagels of my own.
Hi, I'm Stephanie Silverstein, one of the co-hosts of the podcast, The Mom Comes, Stand-Up and Stories. I recently surprised myself by getting into stand-up comedy. Though classically trained, my biggest claim to fame was the role of Harry Bradshaw's answering machine. So I guess stand-up wasn't too far off the mark. At home, I performed for my toughest crowd, 4 kids, my husband, and a 90-pound rescue puppy who thankfully doesn't give notes.
Hi, I'm Liz Alterman. When I'm not responding to what's for dinner, I enjoy reading, baking, and failed attempts at gardening.
Yeah, I mean, definitely, Liz, I agree. I just feel like the essence of her essay, that feeling as a mom, especially when they're young and you're at Gymboree and you're dying to make friends and everyone kind of has that group and you feel like you're not in it.
I remember when I wrote an article a long time ago that opened with a movie quote, of course. It was from Carrie Met Sally when Carrie Fisher says, "Promise me that I will never be out there again." And it's like, yes, hopefully everybody won't be out there again in terms of being, single and looking for a partner for life, but you will be out there again as a new mom trying to make friends. And it's like all those rules apply in terms of texting and see if they'll text back. You create drafts of the text to, ask them for plans. And then the ghosting, like all those same rules of dating apply to making new mom friends. And you inevitably come across the junior high cafeteria scenario.
It's true. I felt like one of the first things I had not expected it when we bought our house. I had a few play dates and the first things were like, how soon are you going to bump out your kitchen? When are you going to replace all your windows? And I was like, oh my God, are you a mom or are you like an interior designer or like, is your husband in construction?
Well, I feel like the mean mom stuff too, it's like such a juxtaposition of, we're supposed to be teaching our children how to be independent and how to be nice and good citizens. And then you're like navigating that stuff. I don't know. And like another thing that I also, if we bring it back around to the comedy, Liz, or the writing, as you were mentioning before, Steph, do you remember the first show that we did in our hometown? We did the show in our hometown and so many moms were coming and they were our friends, but we were so nervous because we were like, are they just coming out of curiosity and are they going to make fun of us and never come again and be like Holly and Stephanie are such nerds?
Yeah, performing for people it's like they now know your innermost thoughts. And
right.
The laughter, it's like validation that we do have all the same thoughts in common.
Well, I was thinking I do some like my bunker humor. I embellish it, but I do have some end of world prepping things that I keep in my house. It's out there. And I remember doing it and there were like 10 of my youngest daughter's friends. And I'm like, oh my God, they're going to be like, this woman's nuts. And even though it's a comedy routine, we might have to like stop letting Holly's kid like hang out with our kids.
They know where they're going in
an emergency.
If they need a profiterole, you've got them covered.
Amazing.
We're going to start with a group list.
I worked at Victoria's Secret in college, and our motto was lift and separate.
I worked there too. I worked at the hosiery boutique though.
Oh, I steamed the silk pajamas.
That's hilarious.
Welcome to the Mom Coms, Estelle.
Excited.
We're so excited that you're here with us today.
I am extremely honored to be here with you and to be one of your first guests. I was a little nervous.
Estelle is a classically trained opera singer, Stephanie.
Right. Did I read that? That's amazing.
We have Estelle Erasmus. She is a TEDx speaker, NYU writing professor, and recipient of the NYU Teaching Excellence Award. She is the author of Writing That Gets Noticed, named a best book for writers by Poets and Writers. She hosts the Freelance Writing Direct podcast, named Podcast of the Year by the American Writing Awards. A former magazine editor-in-chief of publications with over 10 million in total circulation, Estelle built a career crafting cover lines and shaping the cultural conversation around love and desire. In her alter ego as the dating diva, which I cannot wait to talk about, Estelle dispensed relationship advice to millions while privately navigating her own search for love. She has appeared on Good Morning America and Fox News with Ernie Anastas. And now she is appearing on the Mom Coms, Stand Up and Stories. One other thing we will talk about is her memoir in progress. It is set inside the glossy, high-pressure magazine world of the 1990s and early aughts, exploring the tension between the advice she gave and the life she lived. Now, without further ado, Estelle will read for us the essay that originally appeared on Scary Mommy, Mom Life Hacks to Help You Cut Through People's Crap.
Mom Life Hacks to Help You Cut Through People's Crap. So the other day, an administrator for my daughter's school, where I'm a class mom, offered me the job of chairing the annual fun committee for first grade. I politely thanked her for thinking of me, but declined her offer. I've been down that volunteer highway to hell road, and frankly, I ain't got time for that. Giving birth to my now 6-year-old daughter in my 40s has given me the ability to cut to the chase. There are things worth doing, like speed eating Doritos while binge watching Orange is the New Black, whiling away the hours shopping in the local Bermuda Triangle land of Target, and plucking the gray hairs out of your eyebrows. And then there is stuff that will eat your kishkas out if you let it. So in the interest of saving your sanity, I'm happy to share a few hacks that I've learned along the way. Trumping annoying customer service people. Your child is starting up a rollicking game of, "Mommy, find my socks." And while you are willing to, quote, play, which let's be clear, really means yelling, "Find them yourself," you first have to figure out why the doctor charged you double for an office visit, or explain to a clueless rep why you will not be paying for the calls to Guyana on your phone bill. Sure, the person you are speaking with might be speaking to you from a call center located further than you will ever travel in your life, and or may have the passive-aggressive instincts of a spurned ex-lover. Hold, please. Cue insultingly loud elevator music that whispers a big F you in your ear over and over again. Guess what? They don't hold all the power. You do. Simply say, "I want to speak to the manager." If they argue, repeat it over and over and over. You know, like how your child asks, "Are we there yet?" every 5 minutes of a car ride. Once the manager gets on, tell him, her, the story, and use the word unacceptable liberally. Trust me, you will get what you need, and fast. Disgusted with getting dissed? You know how it goes. During a play date, also known as moms drinking wine together while their kids run amok, one of you complains about how it's so exhausting shopping for the right tutu for her precious snowflake, and the other one makes a rude comment. So if you are the one getting dissed, before you break your wine glass off at the stem and enact a suburban mom's version of West Side Story, listen up. Here is my tactic, learned from a former boss I like to call Elizabeth, for salvaging the play date and your self-esteem without losing your shit.
Mhm.
Unless the mom who made the comment is the queen bee mom, ignore her. Just act like she never said anything and continue on with the conversation, focusing your attention on the other moms. Do not engage. However, if the person accosting you is the leader of the group, you must hold your ground. If you can't argue back in a way that would make Socrates proud, and really, who can? Just look at her with a sort of exhausted mien and say, whatever, in a bored tone. Repeat as necessary, then change the conversation. If she gets all up in your face, then respond with wonder, as in, I wonder why she's such a lunatic, and walk away from the situation. Later, do not rehash with your friends. Take a cue from Elsa and just let it go, let it go. You will save precious time and energy by not bothering with that nonsense. Beat gift wrapping woes. When it comes to birthday parties, I'm all about buying a cool gift for the kid. But that's where it ends. You want that crap gift wrapped? Hell no. I think gift wrapping is a complete waste of my time. And I suck at it. Besides, just imagine what you could do with those days, months, and years you spent applying stick-on tape to those oddly shaped gift boxes, and the ends never stay down. It's a form of mom slavery I don't buy into, and neither should you. All you need to do is find a local Barnes & Noble. If you sign up for the B&N gift card, you get free gift wrapping. Or find another store that wraps up those presents for you all fancy, especially when they do that thing with the ribbon and the scissors that if I did it would look like I took a shaver to my daughter's paper mache project. Get out of my space. Don't you hate it when someone in public broaches your personal space and the place isn't crowded? I have a little trick I do that keeps all those subway and bus space moochers out of my way, and you should try it too. When someone is standing so close to me that they can measure my bra cup size and seem about to, I make space for myself very quickly by coughing, sniffling, fake sneezing, achoo, and creating phantom phlegm. Added bonus, I get to stay where I am, and it's kept me out of uncomfortable conversations with creepy strangers. I don't have to say anything to get them to move away, which they do, often with a look of disgust on their part. It works especially well during flu season. The door grab. I get it. Your hubby or partner wants some sexy time, and scheduling that is like planning for a visit from President Obama, what with security details and traffic control, and that's just for the kids. Want to save time and get the job done and make him feel like the stud he imagines he once was? You know, before marriage, kids, and you. Wait for one of those nights he is working late. Get your kid or kids to bed. Take a shower, put on your cutest lingerie or, who am I kidding, softest t-shirt. And the minute he walks through the door, grab him and jump him for a guilt-free quickie. Don't be an idiot and let him know that you planned the seduction. He'll feel so desired that he'll think kindly of you for days, and you'll be done in time to binge watch Odd Mom Out on Bravo. Like I said, as a midlife mom, my time is valuable. And whether you are a midlife mom or not, so is yours. So follow my advice, sweet bitches, because time waits for no mom.
Yay.
That was great. I loved that.
We're all relevant
Mhm.
now. So
Yes, it's evergreen, even though it sounds
time-
dated with some of the references. But I think it's actually really good because your daughter is now the same age as Stephanie and my son, right? She's a junior in high school.
Yeah.
And so you can now look back in retrospect and
Oh,
give our audience some sage advice. What would that be?
you have to protect your time. You have to protect your creativity.
Well, I think you got that point of view across exquisitely. The voice is just so strong and so relatable. And I think that's where all of the humor in this piece comes from.
Thank you. I haven't looked at it in a long time, and it was really nice to look at it from where I am today. She just got her driver's license. She's looking at colleges. I mean, it's a whole different world, and I have not had to deal with mean moms in many, many years, especially when the pandemic happened. That kind of cut that out. And really, the moms are so less involved in the kids' social life now. It's like I'm not involved at all. You know, she has her friends, and it's not like I have to make friends with the parents.
The making of a mommy friend. It felt similar to dating. Like you text them and wait for their response. And do you want to go for coffee? And are you going to get a second coffee in? It was like being right back in that whole dating world, but this time with the new mommy friends that you were meeting.
Now I think they have mommy dating apps.
I was an early user of meetup.com.
Yes, meetup.
I was obsessed. Like that was my new obsession. I had to go to every mommy meetup. I had to be like the first because they would shut you out. So I actually got a new phone because of that, because my other one wasn't fast enough.
I'm just picturing your husband finding this burner phone and being like, what's going on? And you're like, I'm just trying to meet other moms. You know? So I would love to know how humor has played a role in your mothering.
You have to laugh at early motherhood. You're trying to diaper and the poo goes everywhere. You know, we all remember that, right? If you have a boy, the pee goes somewhere. And all the funny things when you're trying to get the clothing on them, and it might be itchy and you're trying to figure out how to do it. And I used to make up little skits for my daughter when I was diapering her. I would sing a song. I'd be like, and now we're lifting up your legs. Woo, woo. The legs are going hot. You know, I'm putting the powder right in there. Isn't that fun? Woo, woo. And she'd be like, yeah.
You're better than a wiggle.
You just have to lighten up, because I think there's just such a heaviness to those early days of motherhood. There's so much minutia in the physical work, the bottling, the schlepping, the stroller.
You can read all the books, you can get advice, but until you're physically in it and there's this human depending on you for everything.
I would learn how to use the stroller and then they'd outgrow it. And it would be like, I had one day left where I could use the skill, and it was like on to the next thing.
I mean, you have to have a sense of humor, because if you don't, everything is going to be so black and white. I think I was always a black and white person. I think becoming a mother in midlife is what made me see the gray.
Oh my God, that's so profound. Honestly, true. Oh my God. This is why
roll with it.
I feel like we need to go a little further back in time, because I want to talk about your memoir, Progress.
Yes.
And I feel like it's the perfect setup for you, now that you do have a teenager, to examine through this older adult lens, what was going on with your dating diva persona? And if you want to explain anything to the audience so they understand what we're talking about.
So I was in publishing in the 90s and early aughts, and then I was editing, curating content, going on television shows, talking about the publications and that I was involved with. And I ended up having an alter ego as the dating diva, where I gave advice in columns and in the Learning Annex and the Seminar Center in New York City to thousands of people, while at the same time, my own dating life was a disaster, an absolute disaster. So it's really at the same time, I was part of that culture. I created the cover lines that women believed, that women followed, and that I followed. I believed what I was selling. So it's the story of the media era of that time and how I was in public, whereas my private self was very different, and how that began to change and transform as the world transformed.
I can't wait to read it.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
What is a mantra or something that you lived by at that time in your life that now, in hindsight, having a teenage daughter, you're like, no way, that was the wrong advice?
Wow, that's a good question. I had so many mantras. I was really interested in my effect on others. And so I was very other focused. And so in the focus on others, it took longer to develop the private me, the inner me, because that's not what people saw. And to some extent, it's still like that, but I've merged the two sides of me, and motherhood and getting married definitely allowed the two sides of me to merge. My daughter is very not other focused. She's not a type who succumbs to peer pressure. She's not the type who is looking to see what other people are thinking of her. And I think, and I'm going to give my husband credit as well, between the two of us, that has been a real important part of our parenting, because I know how much I suffered by being the other way.
Beautiful.
I love that.
Eat your kishkas. I love eat your kishkas. Now, I don't exactly know what a kishka is. I'm assuming it's a Yiddish word.
Yeah.
But the reason I love it is because we can infer what a kishka is by the way you use it in the context of that sentence. Can you expand on that and tell us about your technique and how you were able to pull that off?
It's sort of like being consumed from the inside. That's the idea of it.
Yiddish is really good for that. I was trying to explain what chutzpah was.
Mhm.
And you just sort of know the meaning just by I don't know, the way the letters go together or something. But
Yeah, I think most people will figure out from the surrounding words. I didn't need to go, the kishkas mean.
The only thing is, because I say that sometimes when we're writing comedy for the stand-up show,
Yeah.
Stephanie, Liz, and I are always practicing and we give each other feedback. And so I find myself caught up in what do I have to explain versus what can someone infer from the context. I feel like it's a fine line.
Yes, I agree. I agree. And here's a little craft thing. I think when you use words for like Yiddish words or words from another country, the emotional weight of it has to show in the paragraph so that it's not just like an aside, but it has some emotional weight to it.
Thank you. Well, Estelle, I was going to ask, I've worked with Amy Joyce myself, and I had what I thought was a very innocuous essay about involving my children in grocery shopping to kind of stop that old, like, what's for dinner? I don't want that. And I mean, people came for me like just, so I was going to ask, how do you handle that? One of my first online jobs, my editor said, never read the comments. Whatever you do, don't read the comments. So I was wondering how you handle that.
I mean, I'm not unfamiliar with comments, but online comments are a different animal. I did read the comments, and you have to put yourself in the mindset. They don't know you. So somebody will say, like, for my child is out of control. Somebody said, that's horrible. You're such a bad role model. Child Protective Services should come and take your kid away. It's like, that's your opinion. And it's like if you're walking down Times Square and someone runs up to you and says, you're a horrible person, and you wouldn't give it any credence. So why are you letting trolls dictate how you feel about yourself? I mean, that's the best advice I could give when it comes to that kind of situation. The worst I was ever pilloried was for a piece that I wrote about how I don't let my daughter sleep in our bed. All the people who co-sleep came for me like they had a campaign to get me. And it was a little bit of a crazy time.
I was going to say, I love your Times Square example because I'll teach memoir writing. And that is something where people will say, I'm so afraid to say this publicly. Like I had this one woman who wanted to write a very funny essay about her Girl Scout troop. But she was like, I don't know if I need to wait a decade. I don't know if I need to wait till people move. I'm not being mean-spirited, but there are people out there who will come for me. So I'm going to refer them to that chapter in your book.
Thank you. This has been lovely. One final question that we ask everyone who comes on the show, Estelle. If you were to give up writing, performing tomorrow, and you could only keep one humorous bit or joke that you've written or performed, what would it be?
Okay. I was in Listen to Your Mother in 2012, and it was a pivotal moment in my life. I had left publishing while I was dealing with infertility. My daughter was born in 2009. And so when I went to audition in 2011 for Listen to Your Mother, I wrote the first really deeply personal piece that I'd ever written. I wrote about how we went to a library reading group and everybody was sitting on their parents' laps. And in the middle of all this, my daughter stood up, moved to the center of the circle, and began to dance. I'll just read this little paragraph. I watched my daughter spin around the floor in reckless abandon. I felt her palpable joy. I worried that the other moms would resent my child's insistence on taking center stage, but I saw smiles on their faces instead of the disapproving frowns I feared. I marveled at the wonder that is my daughter. She acted so clearly in the moment. No worries, fears, or thoughts for the future. Could I become as free and unfettered as a child, the star of her own production?
That was beautiful.
Thank you so much, Holly, Stephanie, and Liz. It's really a pleasure to share the space with you, moms, performers, fellow creatives. I've just enjoyed this time so much. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Estelle. It has been so awesome having you on the show. You can find Estelle at her website, which, listen closely because I've messed it up before. It is EstelleSErasmus.com. On Substack, she is Estelle S. Erasmus. You will leave knowing it, okay? And on socials, she is at Estelle S. Erasmus. Thank you for listening to the Mom Comes Stand Up and Stories. We hope that you laughed free of interruptions from your kids. This episode has been edited by the amazing Brianna Avenia Tapper. Don't forget to subscribe to our newsletter on Substack for more information about the Mom Comes. The link is listed in the show notes. Oh, and check out our website, themomcomes.com, where we list information about our shows. See if we're performing in your area. Don't forget to subscribe to the Mom Comes Stand Up and Stories wherever it is that you get your podcasts. Bye.